our facility and speak with them in charge. We will not be cajoled. We will not be bamboozled.
Okay. Yeah, well, as you can see, we are here in our numbers to have access to the National Assembly so that we can present our matter to the National Assembly. However, we are having challenges getting in. But I think we are optimistic that the National Assembly is a law-abiding institution because they make the laws and they know the importance of abiding by the laws. So we are pressing on and we believe that they will allow us in. And I think it's important for me to state that we are here in solidarity with our brothers in all the states of the Federation. That is the MBA branches across the states of the Federation. We are of course appreciative of the federal government, and we are appreciative of the federal government for complying with the provisions of the National Assembly. They have done very well in doing that. However, injury to one is injury to all. So we want a situation where the entire states of the Federation will comply with the provisions of the Constitution. The Constitution is a ground norm that needs to be implemented across board. And so if other states are enjoying what the federal government has approved and the Constitution has provided for, other states not enjoying it means something is wrong somewhere. And so we are here to register our appreciation to the National Assembly and the federal government for complying. And we want the National Assembly to ensure that there is no negotiation. There's no room for negotiation. What we want is a pure implementation of the provisions of the law.
Absolutely.
And the governors have no choice but to comply.
Absolutely.
This is our message, and we are unanimous about this. And this is what we want to happen. Thank you very much. My name is Hawa Shekarau. I am the chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Abuja branch, the Unity Bar. Thank you.
Those you have seen in our formal attire as lawyers were members of the respected body of the Nigerian Bar Association who are here in our numbers. Not that we have any grouse with the National Assembly, no. We are here to appreciate them, to appreciate the federal government for coming out with a legal position that is in consonance with our own understanding, that the judiciary at the state level must have its own independence. And that has not been the case. Now, the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has been on industrial action for the last 21 days. I think this is the time for us to come together as lawyers to show our support for the just cause that is being embarked upon. This visit is being done in all the 36 states of the Federation by lawyers on respective governors. So we are here in the same vein to pay a visit on the National Assembly. Some of us who are elders of the profession have come to endorse what the rank and file of the Nigerian Bar Association is doing, what the president of the Nigerian Bar Association is doing, because we are supportive. We are here to express our concerns and contentions on this controversy and imbroglio of what is happening in this country. If you look at the Constitution of the Nigerian Bar Association, one of the fundamental objectives and aims of the association is to promote rule of law. This is also contained on the logo of the NBA. And the judiciary cannot promote any rule of law if it is not courageous, if it is not independent. And without financial autonomy, it can never be independent. So we want judiciary at the state level to be independent. I want to ask you, for example, rhetorically, why should a state governor be buying cars for the judiciary in states? Why should a state governor be building offices and complexes for the state judiciaries? Right now, why can't they be giving their money directly? What is it that the governors can do that the judicial officers cannot do, considering their background, their experiences, their level of education, and what they can do in this country? The judicial arm of government, to me, is the most important arm of government. It is the oldest, it is the wisest, it is the most important. It doesn't join issues with any organ or any individual. If you look at the game of chess, we that you see here are like the rooks, the pawns, and the knights. The judicial officers are the kings and the queens, and they don't join issues with anybody. We speak on their behalf. That's why we are here in our numbers. We are not here to protest. We are here on a solidarity visit, solidarity show to the judiciary officer, National Assembly, to show them that yes, we are supportive of what is being done. It's a just cause, and what we are doing is in order. So we want them to give us an opportunity to talk to them, and we understand that probably someone is acting someone's script and refuse to open the gate. Many of them are lawyers. They are all respected members. We voted them into offices.
Absolutely.
So they should allow us to see them for a brief moment and tell them our minds. Whether they agree with us or not, it doesn't matter. After all, we're on the same page with them. There must have been a communication gap because of probably the urgency involved. We received a directive from our president, who is the first citizen of the Nigerian Bar Association, and we must queue here and we must obey his command, because it is one body, it is one bar, and this is an opportunity for us as members of the same profession to unite ourselves, to reanimate the bar, to rejuvenate the bar, and to reassert our authority as a profession, as members of the same group. Because if the association does not do the right thing, then the country will continue to derail day in, day out. So once again, we thank the pressmen who are here to support a just cause. Please give it the widest publicity so that Nigerians will know what is happening. Yes. We are not happy that there is industrial action on the ground and no one is working. The judiciary is our primary place of work. We want to go back to court and work for humanity, work for the country, and deliver justice to humanity through our professional services. So once again, I say thank you.
Thank you. Your name and your designation.
My name is Joe Kiari Gazama, SAN. Former chairman of Nigerian Bar Association, section on public interest and development law, which of course is the most important section of the NBA, because what you are seeing here is within the mandate of SPIDA, because this is public interest lawyering.
Anything being done, whether willingly or unwillingly, deliberately or otherwise, to strangulate the administration of justice in this country. That is why we're here. And what are we talking about? We are talking about the independence of the judiciary. And anybody knows that without financial autonomy, you cannot be independent. When somebody is waiting for you to come cap in hand, asking for money for you to even buy books, for you to consider disputes that are brought before you, to adjudicate upon, so that you can render a decision that will stand the test of time. And you have to beg that person for money for you to buy those books, those resource materials that will enable you function properly. Then there is an attempt to strangulate that particular process, to strangulate the institution that is constitutionally responsible for the administration of justice in the country. And mark you, that is the only resort that a common man has in this country. Every other person, many of them can help themselves, but a common man, if your rights have been trampled upon, the only place you can go is the court. Now, why do you go to the court? It's because you believe that there is independence. You believe that there is no partiality. But when someone is sitting somewhere and using the opportunity given to him to turn the court into some puppet, then it means that the courts have lost that independence, that impartiality that is expected of them, that would elicit the confidence of Nigerians in the process of the administration of justice. And that is why we've come here to show support for the process that says, look, let the judiciary be independent. Whatever is given to them, let them disburse that to them from the source. After all, we are talking about the other arm of government. Why should we allow an executive that is on the same platform constitutionally with the judiciary to manage its own finances? And gentlemen, it would interest you to know that, for instance, the Court of Appeal, a judge of the High Court is moved to the Court of Appeal and he loses all the allowances and the salaries that he collects by the time he is elevated to the Court of Appeal. justices of the Court of Appeal have remained on the same salaries and allowances for the past 14 years. So you get into the Court of Appeal, for instance, from the High Court of a state, the kind of salaries that you collected as a High Court judge, it drops when you get to the Court of Appeal. The allowances you have, it drops when you get to the Court of Appeal. I know many justices of the Court of Appeal, for instance, that rose from the bench of the FCT High Court that have not been allocated any new vehicle, and they've spent about 10 years now in the Court of Appeal. Is somebody interested in making it difficult for them to dispense justice? I should think so. Why should the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission not review upward the salaries of judges and justices to bring it in terms with the current economic realities in their country? It is an arm of the executive, and the executive is also not doing anything. So is there some sort of conspiracy to strangulate the judiciary? I should think so. The last time a review of the salaries and allowances of justices and judges was done was in 2007. And please hear me well, 2007. The economic realities have since changed. What was the exchange rate of a dollar to naira in 2007? These gentlemen go to the same markets as we do. They go to the same shopping malls with the members of the executive that decide to just put salaries for themselves as they deem fit. But why do you want to strangulate the other arm that is even responsible for keeping this country, under which you are now an executive? Because without the judiciary, this country would soon have packed up. The judiciary has been that organ of government that has stitched this country together, and we cannot allow that institution of government that is responsible for the bonding that we enjoy in this country to be treated in this manner. Because by the time the judiciary is disintegrated, the judiciary is made incapable of performing its functions, we will not even have a country where we would say we are members of the Nigerian Bar Association, because Nigeria wouldn't even be there. And that is why we are here. We are here to elicit the support of the National Assembly. They are doing their bit, but we want everybody's hands to be on deck. We want them to even do more. Speak to their counterparts in the executive. What you are doing, the members of the judiciary cannot speak. Judges and justices cannot speak for themselves. And that is why we're here. We are all ministers in the temple of justice, absolutely, including members of the judiciary, members of the executive. It is not knowing who you are that is responsible for the kind of attitude that we are even seeing from the executive. How do I mean? We are all, as Nigerians, responsible to a persona called justice. We are all agents of that persona called justice. We only happen to be the ones that are visibly seen in the business of the administration of justice. But there are no less ministers in the temple of justice than we are. There are no less. And what is happening? If they understand that that is the role they ought to play, they won't be treating the judiciary this way. After all, when they have disputes, they can't decide it by themselves. They go to court. The court decides that decision, hands down a decision one way or the other. They walk away happy. Of course, we've seen that in recent times, until a decision is given in their favor, then there is compromise. But what we are saying is that if they would allow the judiciary to function properly, and the way to do it is to guarantee their financial autonomy, all of these things, and then let them understand that they also have the role to play in the administration of justice, we will see nothing of this, and we will see this country function properly. We will see the rule of law takes its place in everything that we do, and we will be better off as a nation. We would go and compete where we should be. We are not where we ought to be as a nation, and this is largely responsible for where we are today. Investors don't want to come into this country because the judiciary is being has been pauperized, is being intimidated, is being harassed by this conduct. So we are here to show support for the process that would elicit once and for all the independence of the judiciary, the financial autonomy of the judiciary, and you and I know that if somebody has to give you money to run your house, that your house is not independent. You who is running that house cannot claim to be independent. So gentlemen, that is why we're here. We will continue to press on. It's not a fight for just today. It's something that we continue to do. And God is on our side, because anybody who is on the side of justice, God is with him, and God Almighty is going to help us to succeed in this process. Thank you so much. Oh, by the special grace of God, my name is Yakubu Michael. And Michael actually can go for somebody who is handsome. Okay, and I think that as a 7-footer, by the special grace of God, a senior advocate of Nigeria. And as it stands today, I also hold the title of TMIB, tallest member in a bar. Thank you. Thank you.
That symbolizes democracy. And as you all know, even during military, you will have the judiciary, you will definitely have the executive. But this is the only arm that is always missing, meaning that it is very cardinal whenever things that concerns the constitution is at play. You understand what I mean? Now, we are here for one simple reason. They have complied substantially. But we want them to know that there are a lot of rumors going around that they might succumb to this particular pressure. Then within 1 year, they will amend section 121. These are a lot of things that a lot of people might not tell you. But we are here as lawyers because indirectly lawyers have woken up. And we are woken up in solidarity for everything that is good. We cannot afford to sit down again and watch this country collapse. We are one and will continue to canvass for one Nigeria. The presidency have completely complied to this particular thing. The governors who swore to an oath are telling us that they want to negotiate about a constitutional provision. It can never happen anywhere. And what we are saying is that to draw the attention to their National Assembly and their House of Assembly, that any order, if they continue to kind of slow down on this implementation, there is nothing than to implement issue of getting them impeached. There is no doubt about that, because we have seen that it's a gross violation of the Constitution. 121 sub 3. And we know chapter 1 of the Constitution is supreme. You cannot come up to tell us that we need to do this and do that and do that. I must tell you that we have started. We are in tandem with the federal government. They have complied substantially. Ordinarily, FCT are not necessarily needed to join this particular protest. But we are here in solidarity because of some salient movement that is being made. And we are so completely, the law as I speak, let me say by myself and those that I represent in Buhari branch, we are not happy that a judgment came out from Supreme Court during this particular strike. A judgment in Imo senatorial district. Are you telling me that it is the judges who called the litigants, the Supreme Court judges that called the litigants? Are you telling me they are the ones? Are you telling me they are the ones that prepared the cost list? Are you telling me they are the ones that arranged everything and brought the files? It means that there are some compromise by some Jusun, even in that particular circle. So we are demanding that this kind of a thing as sabotage should not, and we continue. And we want them to immediately desist from further kind of action. No matter whatever that happens, this thing, we want this particular country to be won so that the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria should be obeyed, and it must be obeyed. The governors cannot be directing us on what to do and all that. Let them wait for us in 2023. We are waiting for them. My name is Clement Chukwuemeka, Nigerian Bar Association, Buhari branch. And this is the Gwagwalada branch. Let him just say chairman.
Some days ago, the president of Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Olumide Apata, gave a directive to all branches of the Nigerian Bar Association to visit their governors in the several states to seek and demand that the governors must comply with the provision of the Constitution that gives autonomy to the judiciary. However, because the federal government had before now complied, the branches in FCT, that's Abuja branch, Gwagwalada branch, and Buhari branch, didn't have a situation where they have to go and make a demand of the federal government, because there's no state governor in in Abuja, and having regard to the fact that the federal government had complied. But to ensure that there's a proper coverage of the issue, and to commend and appreciate the federal government, i.e. not just the executive now, also including the National Assembly, on their support thus far, and to encourage them to ensure that these provisions are complied with, because we are aware that the governors are seeking to negotiate and ensure that instead of complying, they will have a negotiated settlement to that effect. And the NBA is against any negotiation because the provisions of the constitutions are non-negotiable. It is made for compliance and nothing else. It's, so the branches of in the FCT of the NBA and the our national officers decided to pay a visit to the National Assembly, and to the shock of all of us, the National Assembly shut its gates against lawyers. You can see. We didn't come here, we are not protesting, we don't even have placards, just to come and appreciate. They sent messages down through phone call, through emissaries, and we have told them that we only came here to appreciate and to push the point. Please don't allow yourself to join the issue of negotiation. But they have refused to allow us into the places of the National Assembly. I find it extremely very shocking. I don't understand why the National Assembly can shut out the body of lawyers in Nigeria. When they have electoral issues, they run to us. We defend them. Now we want to see you personally. We want to see you. We want to explain to you. We want to appreciate you, but we are shut out. However, I want to pass the message, because we have no other choice but to pass the message. We have been here for more than 1 hour, and we think it's demeaning to keep us outside the gates of the National Assembly for more than 1 hour. Yeah. However, we have no choice but to go back, but we have to pass our message, and we have to pass this message through now the press. The message is this: we are sending to the governors of all the states in Nigeria, particularly the governors who are lawyers, that you have no right whatsoever to negotiate the provisions of the Constitution. The only right you have, which is also in accordance with the oath of office they took, is to obey the provisions of the Constitution, particularly on this issue, Section 121, Section 3, which says that all the money standing to the credit of the judiciary must be paid to the heads of courts, and that is what we are standing for, and that is what must be done. At this stage, in 2015, we had this same strike for months. They gave assurance that they will comply. 6 years down the line, we are still on the same story. This particular democratic dispensation started in 1999. So for a whole 21 years or 22 years, the governors have never obeyed. That is a long time. This time is not time for negotiation, but it's time to ensure that what ought to be done must be done. So the stand of the NBA is that the governors, we are sending this message, like I said to you, you must comply. And all the branches of the Nigerian Bar Association that are in the various governors' houses now, talking to the governors, not even talking to them, demanding that the terms of the Constitution must be obeyed. And I want to use this opportunity to also tell the federal government, you, in a bid to, some persons don't really understand what this executive attend is all about. But I have the privileged information because I was in a meeting sometime last week with the Minister of Labour and some federal government delegation and some other interested persons. And it was at that place we were informed officially that executive order 10 came as a result of negotiation between the governors, between the federal government, between the body of chief judges of Nigeria and the NBA and JUSUN. And they arrived at the terms in that order, executive order 10 before the president graciously signed that order. Now, it's funny to see that what we have agreed to, we are now coming back to want to negotiate it. That's why we are not going to negotiate it. And the message to the federal government is that please urge the federal government to put into effect the particular term that says that the Accountant General can withhold the funds meant for the judiciary and pay same to the heads of the judiciary without recourse to the state governors. That is what we are now urging the governor to do. And some person has said that, is it possible, and I said, for lawyers, we have what we call garnishee. When the money once you are indebted to somebody and there's money standing to the credit of that person somewhere else, the law permits you, by process of law anyway, permits you to seek for that money to be paid to you directly and bypassing the person who actually owns the money. So the federal government, we are asking them that this is a garnishee order, as it were, to make sure that they garnish the accounts of the state government and pay the money to the chief, to the heads of the courts of the states in Nigeria. If they fail to do that, then they have embodied the governors, and in fact, they'll be complicit in what is going on. Thank you. My name is John Ibobo Martins, John Ibobo Martins, First Vice President.
If we can add a little bit, please. Support the President of the Bar, to support the leadership of the Bar, because this is a noble cause, this is a just cause, it's a fight for humanity, it's a fight for the legal profession, it's a fight for judiciary, it's a fight for the common man. I remember sometime last year during the national conference of the NBA here in Abuja, although it was equally virtual, I presided over a session where one of them, not just one of them at the National Assembly, former Deputy Senate President, Senator Ekere Madu, was the keynote speaker on this issue, on Executive Order number 10. The entirety of the Nigerian Bar Association, as well as the profession, built a consensus on the legality and constitutionality of that order. So if someone is aggrieved, the only option to that person is to go to court and get it set aside. Until it is set aside, we must comply with it. That is what we are saying. We must not be misunderstood. We are here as a body to support JUSUN, because we are on the same page on this narrow issue with the federal government of Nigeria, with even the National Assembly, where there has been strict compliance. So we should be understood, please. That's why we are all here. Thank you very much.
God bless Nigeria.